I think so. Let's see. Yes, it is recording.
All right, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, the next person is Naomi Hadaway.
Trying to get myself off of mute. My name is Naomi Hadaway. I am a city council candidate for Omaha, Nebraska. And during the day, I function as a nonprofit program design consultant working on housing stability, which is ever present and ever important right now in COVID response times. So that's a really quick introduction of myself. I'm excited about my campaign, and Karen, you mentioned your race recently. I think that the effort's there in the running, right? In the going forth and putting yourself out there. So I'm glad to get some advice from you too.
All right, last one, Alex.
Hi, I'm Alex Spenser, and I am the Democratic nominee for the U.S. House of Representatives here in Oregon's Congressional District 2. Thank you. It's incredibly exciting, and the primary was a whirlwind and a roller coaster, and there has been very little time in between. And yet here we are, and we've got like 9 weeks until the election, and it is so exciting. And I am just, I have such appreciation for this opportunity. Thank you so much, Sandra. And just the idea of bringing women together to talk and exchange and be strength for each other is exactly where I live and where I'm coming from. My major focus in this election is on healing the divisiveness in Congress, in our neighborhoods, and throughout our nation. And it's so very important to have every voice be a part of the conversation. So thank you so much for this opportunity.
You're all welcome. And let me go back and start and say how I knew each one of you and I got to meet you briefly. Karen and I used to hold up signs together. As I told you, I was a candidate for an office for school board, and Karen would be on one side of the street and I'd be on the other side of the street, and we'd be sweating and drizzling, and she would offer me a bottle of water. And so that was some grace coming from her. She was offering me some water. She was telling me how to dress the next day because it was like 90 degrees. And so Karen, thank you so much. So Letha, I want to thank you. Her husband and I were two of the co-founders of a school called Chattahoochee Hills Charter School. And so I just want to thank you for allowing me to be a part of your life, because your husband was such a great man. Thank you so much. Naomi, you're next. Naomi, I met via Facebook. It was a Facebook group, Run to Win. I think that was the name of it, or Emily's List. And I found that Naomi's in-laws, even though she lives in Omaha, her in-laws live right across the street from me. Isn't that something? Small world.
Small world.
Alex, I thank you so much. She has been kind of my saving grace. She told me, just because you didn't win this time doesn't mean that there's better things for you. She actually told me, kind of made me a little bit mad at first, but I thought about, you know what? My husband would say, yay, Alex, yay, Alex. She said, you know, that race that you run was such a small race. You're bigger and better than that. You need to run for something else. So I thank you, and I take my hat off to you. I'm gonna start the questioning with Letha. You're the first one, because I'm kind of going in order, but I'm starting with the second person. Letha, what are your hopes and concerns for this country, your community, and your family?
Sure. So I will say that my hopes and concerns for the community, for the country, for my family are pretty much one and the same. I was born in the 70s, and this is the first time that I've seen so much unrest, and I worry about the soul of our nation. And so in terms of the hope that I have, I hope that we can get back to a place where humanity is at the forefront, and that we recognize that there has to be justice for all, as we have been promised. And therefore, my hope and my dream is that that will resonate very soon, because I do not want future generations to feel what my parents may have felt and went through in the 50s and the 60s. And that I really think that we're really going through now with just the divisiveness, a lot of the negative rhetoric, a lot of the social injustice that's going on. I don't want future generations to think that that is normal. So I'm hoping that we get back to just that basic level of humanity and understanding that we owe that to each other.
All right, thank you. Naomi, you're next. You have 2 minutes to answer the same question. Would you like me to repeat that question?
No, I've got it, and I'll answer it very briefly, and then yield my time to somebody else. For me, it's all about my hopes for the community are that we can start to have a better representation with our elected officials. I don't know about where you all are from, but here in Omaha, it has been the status quo and the same for a long time. And so whether that's race, ethnicity, disability, lived experience across all of the different areas, it's not represented with our city council, with our state legislature. There are quite a few women as our state senators, but I don't believe that we're going to get anywhere towards repairing and healing if the same folks are making the decisions for us. So my biggest hope for our city and for my community is that whether it's elected or self-proclaimed leadership, because I think we all have leadership inside us, is that we start to mirror our actual community instead of having, and I won't name it, but the status quo can't serve us any longer. So that's my biggest hope.
All right, great. Alex, you're up next. Same question. You want me to repeat it? 2 minutes. Can you hear us, Alex? Unmute yourself.
Yeah, that's what I was after. Yeah, would you repeat the question for me?
Okay, the question is, what are your hopes and concerns for this country, your community, and your family?
Thank you. Yes. My hopes are that everyone understands how close we really are. That we have this perception that we're so far apart and we're really right here. And we need to take those extra couple of steps, come together and really take the time to understand each other, take the time to listen, hold more than one idea at a time so that we can hear all the voices and that all the voices matter. My hopes and dreams are that when my daughter gets older and has her own family, that she doesn't worry about the things that I have to worry about for her and for her friends. And we need to make sure that that walking down the street is okay for everyone. We need to make sure that women's rights are supported all across the board, not only in America, but throughout the world. And it's really important that we look at our world, our earth, as a system, and that everything that we do affects everyone else. And it will come to pass that we all come together and have this understanding. And I hope it's tomorrow.
Okay, great. Karen, did you want me to repeat the question, Karen? Can you hear me, Karen? Unmute.
Oh, I'm sorry. Here we go. Yeah, no, I'm fine. I don't need you to repeat it. Thank you. What concerns me most is that we're living in a time where civility has just gone out of the, just out of the picture. And as a society, if we cannot just agree on basic truths, that whether that truth is that as a nation and as a community that we agree that we're going to honor our older adults and take care of them as they age, or that we're going to educate our children, that all children are deserving of an education that prepares them to live and to learn and to serve. If we don't have any basic truths, our society is just withering away and nothing else matters. And I'm so fearful of these times that we're living in, where everyone lives in a silo, and that every man is right in their own eyes. And those basic truths that we used to have just as a country, whether or not we all agree that there were basic truths that we had, that now we have to wonder. People have grown more selfish. It's all about, themselves and the people that they know, and that it's so easy to mistreat people. And I want to see us get to a place in this country, in our communities, where our public servants come to serve the people. I know this is about politics, the title in and of itself, but at the root of everything, we're here to serve people. And that folk have forgotten about. It's just all about winning the next race, which is important because we are a country of laws. But we're there to serve people. And that's where I want to see us get back in our communities, at the state level, and certainly at the federal level.
Very good. Okay, the next question starts with, I think, who did I start with last? Salitha was the first one started. Okay, now Naomi, this is for you. You each have 1 minute to answer this question. What would your best friend say about you?
So I think it depends on which day it is and which friend.
Your best friend.
It's interesting. Well, it's interesting. Even that I was pondering that question, and I think that as I get older, I was also born in the 70s, Salitha. As I get older, I start to realize that I've been intentionally diversifying my friendships so that I have probably not so much one best friend, but kind of friends for different purposes and reasons and seasons. But I think the collective answer would be that I represent quiet power. Oftentimes people say about me that they're surprised when I kind of come with some force or come with some fire. And it's because I do everything in kindness first. And so I think people are often surprised when that comes with putting my foot down or stomping my foot sometimes, that they're surprised. And I think that is, I guess I take that as a compliment. But I think that it would be something along the lines of having quiet power and leading with kindness and love.
Okay. Alex, you're next. What will your best friend say about you?
My closest friends would say that, first of all, she's honest to a fault. And sometimes that's a good thing, and sometimes maybe not so much. And that I love everyone, and that I am everyone's champion. And I am the first one to be there for support, for understanding, for telling them exactly what I think, exactly what I believe. And so that they can trust that. They can, they look to me as that sort of barometer of truth. And they know that if they call me, that's what they're going to get. So that's it. That
Karen?
and just the love.
I'm sorry.
No, all good.
Karen, I think you're next.
One of the
What would your best friend say about you?
The first thing they would say about me is that I meet people where they are. And I have a reputation for that because I neglected to say what I do in my everyday life. I'm the director of resident services. I connect older adults to resources and services to help them age in place. And I've always worked with the underserved population. So I have and I was a fraud investigator. So I have a combination of a heart for people, but I have a heart for doing what is right by people. And so one of the things I'm very resourceful. as old folks say, I can squeeze blood out of a turnip. Everything doesn't have to be perfect for me in order to do what I need to do. In fact, I get excited when I have to go out and find what I need to get started. But I'm authentic, and I'm genuine, and I could be quite honest as well. So I have to taper that a little bit in terms of I'm very direct, I will say, very direct.
All right, thank you. Salitha.
So I think my friends would start out with, where do I start with this? So one of the things that I think my best friends would say about me is that I'm focused. I'm focused on the things that I've decided to commit to, be it family, work, civic engagement, or philanthropic endeavor. And they would also say that I have high expectations of individuals, and it's not just because I'm expecting someone to do things that I wouldn't do. It would be stemming from the fact that I expect a lot from myself. And the last thing they would probably say is that I'm a teacher by nature, and going beyond my parents being public education individuals, but just a teacher because I feel that I owe that back to individuals and I enjoy doing it. And so it could be, teaching someone at work, having conversations with former students, dealing with mentees, or just having conversations in general with the public about the importance of voting, the importance of having social and economic means to pass on from generations. So those are three of the four of the things that probably they would say about me.
Okay, great. I'm going to shuffle these questions around. And so I'm not going to ask all of you the same questions, but I'm going to start the next question out with Alex. This is for you, Alex. Are there any issues around women's political leadership that concerns you?
Yes, absolutely. So I feel like we're coming out of a phase of women's political leadership where women felt like and very much needed to be seen as, the surrogate of a man. So they've had to really act like the men before them so that they could be accepted and be understood. And that's, it's a very difficult place to come from when you're a woman, having to mask the things that make you woman. And so we're very, very fortunate today that we get to be feminine, be loving, be caring, be peaceful and open. And, it's interesting because I had one of the local folks out here who has this blog that everybody reads, right? He said, well, maybe it's time for a peacemaker in office. And that, he probably wouldn't have said that even 2 years ago. So it's amazing the changes that we've seen, that women are allowed to be strong, vibrant, and feminine all at the same time. So.
Thank you. Salitha, this is for you. Do you believe that having women in politics or political leadership provides a different kind of voice?
Absolutely. And so, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, I came from a family of politicians. Both my mother and my father were local politicians. And I saw that my mother could bring certain elements to the table that my dad may not have been able to bring just by her experiences. And my dad was a girl's dad and a girl's grandfather. They were all girls, 3 daughters, 2 granddaughters. And so I think it's critical that you have that voice from both sides, and especially have that voice from the underrepresented, where women have been for years in politics. And, one of my favorite discussions and quotes was the discussion that Justice Ginsburg had, in which as she's on the U.S. Supreme Court, when she was getting questioned, when do you think there will be enough women on the U.S. Supreme Court? And, you know, in summary, her response was no. And she's like, there's not ever this discussion when will there ever be enough men? And at one point in time, there were all men. And so that's one of the favorite things that I take away from the leader from a public servant perspective that I admire a lot, is that, you know, we do need the voice of women in politics, and there is a different voice that women bring, and it's important to have that.
Okay, Karen. Thank you, Salitha. This is for you. And I'm kind of mixing this up a little bit, ladies. Karen, you stated that you did not win the election. Can you see yourself running again? And what would your platform be if you ran again?
I can't speak to anybody else's experience. That was my second time running. So you get a little gun shy, and then you begin to question if you made the right decision. I am a woman of great faith, and I've been a servant all my life, both professionally and privately. I serve people and I enjoy it. I get a kick. I just love it. And I believe that that is what God would have had me do in this season of my life. So naturally, when it didn't happen the first time, we did very good. Got a lot of votes for it my first time. And the first time I said, well, okay, good, God, I was obedient. I did what you said. I had fun doing it. Okay, I'm good, right? And then I heard him say, well, do it again. I said, well, now, I don't know. What if I don't win? It's gonna make you look bad, because I'm telling everybody, yeah, I know, I heard from God. And so you do it, because it wouldn't let me go. And I did it, and then when I didn't come away victorious this time, I said, well, now, doubt, like anything else. I said, well, did I not hear right? Clearly, there's something different I need to do to have a different outcome. But the thing of it is I can say no, but there's something within me that says, I know I heard what you said, and I know how you created me. I know I would be a great servant. I have to learn to merge politics and service. I think like you had mentioned with some of the other ladies about women, we come to the table with so many gifts and talents, and we're so multifaceted, and we multitask, and we're caring. And in politics, that's frowned upon as being weak, but that's needed when you're serving people, because we're powerful human beings. We give birth to things. And so the short answer to that is, I personally would say, I don't want to get out there and do it again, but that power within me saying, oh, what if the third time was the charm? So so that's where I am. Maybe I'm just it's too soon after the primary, but I'm conflicted, I should say. Not a total yes and not a complete no.
Well, you do know our new state senator ran 3 times. So yes. The third one was a charm.
Yes, I've heard so many that I thought got it on their first attempt have later come to say, I ran 3 times. I ran 5. I said, no, I didn't know that. So that's good information to hear, and I am in deep prayer over it.
All right, Naomi, you're it. This is for you. Describe a powerful woman's politician leadership moment you've experienced.
So
describe a powerful politician's leadership moment you've experienced.
There's quite a few that I could think of that are on a more national level, but I think I'll answer it with one of our state senators. Her name is Megan Hunt, and she's young. She's a single mom, And she has really demonstrated powerful leadership for Nebraska during her term so far. She almost looks at what is always been done, which Nebraskans really like to hold tight to what we know to be true and what we know works in the past. And she's really challenged that, and not challenged it in a way that is problematic or that's looked at as confrontational, but more in a way of like, tell me more about why we've always done it this way. And she's really shown leadership to the other women that are in the state legislature, which has been really, really cool to watch. The other thing that's neat about her that I really think is a powerful leadership stance is she may have a couple of issues that she really firmly believes in, but to watch her envelop the whole of the state. So recently she championed and was able to get passed legislation around college football players, and I think any college athlete being able to use their name or their likeness for sponsorship. And for not for scholarships, but in terms of jerseys and I can't think of the right word. It's escaping me, but that was really important to watch for me. She is openly queer and really represents also the single mom issues, but to then watch her kind of jump across and say, and I want to be here for the college athletes too. She shows time and time again her leadership. So Megan Hunt is probably a good example.
Okay, same question to you, Alex. Describe a powerful woman's politician's leadership moment you've experienced.
Powerful women in politics. It's really so very interesting. So the one moment that I always remember is the time that I woke up my daughter and sat her in front of the television, and for me, when this happened, it was all about the moonshot, right? Watching the Apollo missions go up. But for my daughter, it was sitting her in front of the television when Nancy Pelosi became Speaker of the House. And I think for all of us, that was such a huge moment for women and for time, and that she has done it with such grace and such love and such, an abundance of caring and being of service to everyone. And she's always kind, and in the face of very, very difficult circumstances, she always finds a way to, put the spin of, we're doing this for the people. And I really appreciate her for that. I look forward to working with her very soon.
Well, hi, Al. So, Letha, this is for you. It's kind of a twofold question. What sense of purpose or duty guides you in your life? And would you ever run for political office? And what do you think it would be?
So I'll start with purpose guiding me through life. So I'll give you 4 words that I kind of focus on. Honor. I go back to the humanity part. Faith, and the other one will be justice. And so when I think about the concept of honor, it goes back to, this just an old school concept of honor thy father and their mother, the things that my grandmother would make sure that my siblings and I understood in terms of respect for individuals. So that guides me a lot from the standpoint of, I don't have to like you and you don't have to like me, but there's a level of honor that we have to give to each other in order to make sure that we can have civil communication. I already spoke about the whole concept of what my expectation about humanity is, and that guides me in terms of what I expect out of myself and what I expect out of other individuals. that we make decisions based on what's human and we treat people with human dignity. Faith, I can do all things because I have a faith that I know will guide me through no matter what, even failures and losses. And then the last thing is I'm a lawyer, and I truly believe that justice will sustain and keep us to get through rough times. And so, and I always have to go back and believe that justice will withstand and uphold the law that we need to make sure that that's in place. And so, but don't send me an email if things get awry and judges and decision makers don't do the things that they're supposed to. But I believe in the justice system. I truly believe in the justice system, and it will eventually all work things out. In terms of whether or not I will ever run for politics, I think I've done my duty as a child growing up in a household with politicians and then marrying a public servant. So I have no immediate plans to run for politics, but I like politics, but I'm one of the individuals that I see it really from more of a business side and a civic engagement side. So I don't have any near-term plans to run for politics, but I will be the one that tries to make people understand that you have an obligation to vote. You have an obligation to be involved in your community. That's kind of where I am. And I have a pretty loud voice, and so I think that's probably where my purpose of politics are.
Okay, great. This question is for everybody. I'm going to start with Karen. Karen, what are your aspirations for women in politics?
This may, that we stand up unapologetic and be, that we're able to be who we are without apologizing, because we're different. There are differences between male and female, but all of us have strengths and characteristics that when working together, we can get a better product, we can get a better government, we can get a better things work better when we use our individual strengths. So I would love for us to get to a place where a woman who runs for office, we're not judged on the stereotypes of all women are emotional, all women are just, you know, they just freak out. No, we have gifts, we have talents, and if allowed to use them to the fullest, that we could change we could change everything, because we're change agents. We give birth to things again. We are birthers. We carry dreams, and so that would be my wish, not to be judgmental.
Okay. Salitha, same question. What are your aspirations for women in politics?
Short answer, more women in politics. I want there to be more of us there. And not only the politician, but more people willing to stand and support those women that are being courageous and making sure that, I mean, we have their back, and we don't stand for individuals tearing those women down that are going out and running and holding office. And then the last thing is you got to put money in. And so I expect women, if you're not running, you need to be contributing.
Okay. Naomi, same question. What are your aspirations for women in politics?
So I echo what everyone else has said so far. I love the if you're not running, you better be contributing. That's so smart and so true. I also want to see more authentic voices. I think that we stand in our best power as women when we are our authentic selves, and when we bring, you know, our emotions and our empathy and our lived experience. More of us, yes. I also want to see more, you know, we only climb the ladder, whether that's success or our political aspirations if we can also reach back behind us and pull others with us. I'm currently in the middle of trying to navigate that here locally. You know, when you have done the run yourself, it's exhausting, it's tiring. And so who is there else to be bringing the next batch up? To make sure that there's that collective support, I think is something that I really want to see more of for women. And to be transparent too, I also feel that it needs to be a broader for those that identify as female. I think that we are so rigid right now on how we present, and I think we need to be open to folks that identify as female in whatever state of transition that might be. But yeah, authentic voices and more support.
All right, thank you. Alex, you're it. Same question. What are your aspirations for women in politics?
Well, I agree with Ruth Bader Ginsburg that there is no number that's too many. I would love to see 51% of Congress, of both the Senate and the U.S. House of Representatives, be female, because that would reflect the American population, and that's what's important. And really being able to hold more than one idea at a time. And you know, the way the framers wrote the Constitution, the original idea of a president was well, so it was president and vice president, and the two who ran were supposedly the very best in the land, right? And so one of them was the president and the other one was the vice president. And what I'd really love to see, and I know that this is fantasy, complete fantasy, but wouldn't it be interesting if we had an executive branch that had to have both a man and a woman to be co-presidents and make all choices together? Because we need all of the sides. We need Democrats and Republicans. You know, our flag is equal amounts of red and blue, and that I think that's for a reason. I think that we all need our voices heard. And I know I say the same thing over and over and over again. And it's so important that every voice gets heard, and remembering that your vote is your voice, and so please vote, and every vote counts.
Thank you so much. Well, ladies, we are about to wrap this up, but before we leave, I'd like each one of you to give me a parting statement of what you want the people to know about you, what you want the people to go forward with you, and what you're all about. So we'll start with you, Alex, again.
I'm Alex Spenser, and I want to be your voice in Congress. Please go to my website at spencer2020.com, and there you'll find a heading of pandemic support. There is a list of folks who are on the front lines of this pandemic, who are making sure that folks have enough food to eat, have a place to sleep tonight. And if you can donate, please donate there first. And then if there's more, please, we can use your donations as well. But let's make sure that everyone gets cared for tonight. That's what's most important. And I am Alex Spenser, and I will be your voice in Congress. Thank you so very much.
Thank you, Alex. Karen, any parting words?
We all have a circle of influence among our friends, our neighbors, our family, and you don't have to hold a public office to serve and to serve humanity. And so wherever you find yourself, as my mom would say, bloom where you're planted.
Absolutely.
You know, and what I do with my seniors, many of them don't read, they don't write, but every election since Obama's first run, I make certain that they're registered. I hold candidate forums, because where I work is not the district where I live, to make certain that they're educated. And then on election day, I make certain that they have rides. If they need ID, I bring someone in to make certain that they have ID. And right now, I'm checking everybody's status. I'm going onto our state's website to check their status, to make certain that they're registered, that they know where they vote, and I'll know how to get rides. Because at the end game, we all are put here for a limited amount of time. And we all bring gifts that are most relevant during a season of our life. So that's why it's so important that we view what we do in society, whether it's politics or your civic engagement, it's that it's a game. And you're not supposed to get in that game, stay all 4 quarters, start the game over again. You're there to push the ball a little further down. And when you've done what you do, as Naomi said, you reach back and you bring somebody else along and they push the ball down a little further and so on and so forth, so that we get fresh ideas and we get everybody an opportunity to serve. And so I'll end with saying, do your part. Our democracy is at stake. You vote, take your family and those with whom you have an influence over, make certain that they get to the vote and that they're educated voters.
Thank you. Salitha, same question. Parting words.
Treat everyone with humanity, vote, and make sure that you have faith that justice will prevail.
Okay, great. Naomi, do you have anything that you'd like to say? Any parting words? You tell people how to vote for you, whatever.
So I actually have quite a bit of time. Our municipal elections are not until April of 2021. We have off-year elections for our city races. But I would echo, it's about the collective and the collaborative. Reach out to your election commission if you want to be able to help. I think a lot of the election commissions are helping to organize driving or picking up mail-in ballots, all of that. Facebook's a great way. I mean, there's a lot of issues with Facebook, but Facebook is a great way to find community, and it's a great way to find places that you can be of service. So I think my parting words, I mean, you can find me at the easiest place is naomihadaway.com. But I think, I'm here to just speak to the power that we all have to be a part. We often, I hear women say, but I'm not a leader, or I don't have a platform, or I don't have the purview. And if you have a kitchen table, you've got a platform. So I think I would just echo the encouragement to use it in line with your integrity and with humanity as the end goal, to echo what everyone has said. Sandra, thank you so much for this.
You are welcome. And I did promise you guys that I was going to teach you how to do a Southern Comfort drink. And the Southern Comfort drink for this month is called the September Slammer. And I have it here in my hand. And I have a little piece of apple here. And so the way you make this is you have to have 1 ounce of Southern Comfort, 1 ounce of amaretto, 1 ounce of sloe gin, and 2 ounces of orange juice. But I don't particularly like orange juice, so I didn't put any orange juice in here. But cheers to you guys. Love you guys. Thank you for being a part of my inaugural podcast. This is season 1, episode 1, part 1, because we're going to be having some more women in politics on here the next episode, which is part 2. So if you have any people that you would like me to talk to, or any politicians that you would like to be part of my podcast, please, please, please let me know. It has been a plum-pleasing pleasure to have you all on this podcast. I love you guys. Take care. Stay safe. Be well. Win your races. I look forward to see you, Alex, in Washington, D.C. I'm going to come visit you when you win, because I want you to introduce me to our new president, President Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. And Naomi, I want you to win your race. If there's anything else that we can do on the Georgia level, please let us know. Salitha, I'm looking for great things to happen to you. So baby, you just get ready. Karen, you and I, we still in the winning mode. The best is yet to come between us. You never know what we're going to be doing next. So Naomi and Alex have kind of pushed us and told us to stay in the race. We know we got Salitha behind us because she's right here in our neighborhood. So thank you, folks. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Goodbye.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you.
Bye-bye.